guys, what's up? It's Mary, and today I'm back with another video, and today's topic is lifeguarding. So I've been a lifeguard for now 2 years, and I'm going to share my experiences and also, your prereqs, how to find a class, and how to get a job. So why lifeguarding? Well, it's a great opportunity if you're interested in healthcare, becoming a doctor or a nurse or doing anything in the system, because you're going to learn a lot of CPR and basic life support. It's also really good for job security because obviously in order to be a lifeguard you have to get training, you have to be certified. So it's not something that everyone can do. So it's great for doing jobs, especially at college where, you probably will have a pool because your school will probably have at least a pool or like a swimming team. So there's opportunities in college, and then obviously there's all seasonal employment and summer employment for those just looking for summer jobs. And it's just a great skill to have because you can use it in your everyday lives. So for example, I gave the Heimlich twice already in my family. That's when someone's choking and you help, abdominal thrust until the thing that's been choking them comes out. So it's great. And then I also used first aid on my friend too when she hurt her leg, the rice. So it's just a great thing overall, and honestly, you can help save someone's life, which is awesome, and then you also can get a good job. So it's just a great thing to do, and I highly recommend it. And without further ado, let's teach you guys how to become a lifeguard. Alright guys, so let's get started. So the first thing you need to know is, do you meet all the prereqs to be a lifeguard? So there are basically 3 prereqs you have to be able to meet. So first, can you swim? That's pretty self-explanatory. Obviously, to be a lifeguard, you need to know how to swim, but just throwing it out there. So if you don't know how to swim, look into taking a swimming class and learn, and then shortly after you can become a lifeguard. So the second prereq is that you have to be able to swim 10 laps as part of your lifeguard training. So if you're not the best at endurance, or you never swam laps before, you know how to swim but you don't know how to do laps and all the different styles, I recommend maybe taking a class on that or doing something online or just something, and maybe running and going to the gym and getting more into shape because you will have to do that endurance. So it's good to know that getting into it so you can be training and preparing ahead of time. And the third thing you have to have is that you have to have money and time to take the class. So the class can be a little costly. It can be about, $300, $400, depends on where you take it, who you take it from, and the season when you take it. But as a general rule of thumb, it's about that much money, and then also you have to have the time. It's about a 2-month commitment, so you have to have all those prereqs in place before you can even really sign up for a class and succeed. Alright, so now that you met all the prereqs, you gotta find a class. So I personally took my class through my local YMCA, and it's a really great option if you live in a smaller town or, you're looking for a cheaper option because it wasn't super costly. Again, it was high 3s, I think, to take the class. And I took it in April and I ended in June, so it was a great time because it allowed me to work for the summer season. So if the Y doesn't work out for you, you can always check the Red Cross. They have classes like CPR and stuff, so you can always check to see if they have a lifeguard certification class happening. But the Red Cross isn't necessarily the best people that live in small towns. It's more for cities like New York City and in New Jersey and stuff, because near my town there wasn't really any classes in general. So that's just a thing to watch out for. But if you live in a more industrialized and city environment, then the Red Cross might be a very valuable tool for you. Another thing, if you're still having trouble finding a class, you can always check your local high school, and a lot of times they let you take the lifeguarding class as your gym class. So that's super awesome because A, there's no commute because you're already at school, you're getting high school credit, you're getting a skill. It's usually not that expensive either, so that's a super awesome option that you can definitely look into doing. And the fourth thing is maybe looking into your college or university if you're not in high school or you missed the opportunity when you're in high school due to scheduling things. If they have it, it's worth a try. If they have a pool, they probably might have a lifeguarding class, especially if your school has you take a gym like mine does. So, it's always worth checking out. And now that we have a class, we got to pick the right class. Alright, so now that we found a class, we have to make sure this is the right class for what we want to do. So there's kind of 2 types of lifeguarding class, and sometimes they overlap. Mine was an overlapping one. So there's one where you just learn how to deal with a pool. So, pool environment, and that's usually something that goes down to 8, 10, or 12 feet. And then there's a lifeguarding class where you deal with the pool stuff in addition to waterfront. So you might need your waterfront if you want to work at a beach or a state park area with natural water. Because obviously waterfront training, I actually am waterfront certified because it just came with my course. It was optional, but I chose to do it just to give me more options. I mean, personally, I don't want to really use my waterfront skills, but I have it in case I need it. because waterfront requires additional training, because obviously when you're dealing with natural water bodies, they can go down 40, 50 feet, and that's different kinds of rescue things, and you have to learn additional, training on, how to, like, kind of row and stuff, and using, like, the paddleboard to get out there. So it is extra training to do kind of beach work and state park work, but it is worth it, because usually those are the higher paying jobs, because again, less people have that certification in the first place. So if you're interested in doing that, then make sure you are enrolled in a course that does have waterfront. And if you're not interested in doing that, then a regular lifeguarding course will be fine. Alright, now we took our class and we got straight A's and everything because we're just that great. We need to find a job. So, where do we start? Okay, so a great place to start is actually when you're still in the class, like maybe a week or two before it's done. You should really talk to your instructor. They're a great resource. Usually they're lifeguards themselves, so they have worked as it before, and then additionally, half the time there are employers actually contacting them, asking if there's any students that are interested in doing these kinds of jobs. So they're a great resource, so please connect to them, and maybe they can help get you a job if you don't know where to start. Another great place is the local Y, because they have indoor pools, and that's another place where I could have gotten a job. I chose not to because I don't like indoor pools. They kind of do some funky stuff to my sinuses. So you can check your local Y, and then honestly too, use your friends and family members, because they may know like a private pool club, or maybe someone lives in a condominium that has a pool. So they usually have good connections, so maybe they can try to hook you up with something. That's honestly how I got my lifeguarding job. And then, just do a Google search, see, local pools near me, try to do any public pools that you can, and also if you know anything with indoor pools, or again, the living condominiums and stuff. And the last place is obviously if you have waterfront, then you can be applying to local, state parks, you can be applying for beaches, and also you can maybe do some camp stuff, especially if they're near like a body of water. You might need waterfront for that, so that's great. So that's again why waterfront is a good option that I recommend getting, even if you don't really particularly want to do that work, because it opens a lot of doors. So yeah, so now that we got our job, we have to make sure we recertify so we can keep getting our job every year. Alright, so now we gotta get recertified in things. Usually this happens every 1 to 2 years. It really depends on your state, and it depends what kind of thing you get certified in your lifeguarding initially. So this is where it's probably going to get a little variant for people in here, because New York State like really regulates lifeguarding stuff and the certification that we get. But so make sure you contact your employer or any possible employers, or even, your local government, and maybe they can help you sort out what you need. So when you get lifeguarding, again, this depends on your course, but generally you get your lifeguarding certification, which is good for 2 years. You get your CPR, which is good for 2 years, but I'll talk about that because my state's different. Bloodborne pathogens, which is good for 1 year. And then I got my waterfront, which I believe is good for 2 years. So you should look at your certification when you first get it. I got mine through the American Red Cross, and those were my things, how good they were good for. So unfortunately, New York State, well, it's not really unfortunately, I mean, it's good that they do this, but it was just a little unfortunate for me who didn't know about it ahead of time until I was trying to get a job. But New York State actually imposes an extra regulation on CPR, so healthcare providers, which you are a lifeguard, is a healthcare provider, which is important when you're looking up recertification classes, have to get CPR recertified every year. Even though your certification says it's good for 2 years, New York State Department of Health says you have to get it every year. So this is where, again, it depends on your state, but if you are New York State, really be on that. And then if you've been a lifeguard for even longer, you probably know that, but for especially new lifeguards or people that are trying to become lifeguards, it is important that, even though your certification says it's good for 2 years, it may not be. It depends on your state, and then obviously by international people, it depends on your country's code, and then by your province or state's code additionally on that. So it's really important that you check up on that, and then hopefully your employer will, be helpful, and then they might have days where everyone that's employed under them get recertified because they bring someone in. But there's also other options, and you have to be careful too, because sometimes online recertification classes aren't good in your state, or they don't meet requirements for your Department of Health. So again, this is pretty variant, but for New York State especially, make sure you have your certifications up to date. And then one thing though, I know that bloodborne pathogens you don't have to have every year to be certified as a lifeguard in New York State, and that might be different for everyone. And then waterfront, there might be additional, because I never worked a waterfronting job, so there might be even more additional recertification on there. But usually too, the lifeguarding does expire every 2 years because for good reasons, like they want you to practice, you know, pulling people out and doing those rescues and going through the motions again. So that is something you're going to have to get every 2 years. But luckily, probably where you take the class, they offer a recertification class for lifeguarding because that's pretty easy and pretty accessible. So again, check your Y schedule or check your college too, because a lot of people in my school get lifeguard recertified. So your college or high school or a local Y, and then again, the Red Cross site would be another great place to look. CPR and some of the other ones that you get certified that you have to get recertified are a little more tricky. And usually your State Department will list, you know, certified classes for healthcare providers. And I can't emphasize this enough. You have to get the healthcare provider. So that's usually the basic life support classes. Because again, I don't want you having to pay money to take a CPR class. It's not even going to be good enough for your job. So please check up on that. And it is really important to maintain it because you already paid all this money to get your lifeguarding. So, you know, like you want to maintain it and make sure you can work at it every year. Alright guys, so that's all. I hope this was helpful. And if you have any questions about lifeguarding, feel free to comment down below. I've been a lifeguard for 2 years, so hopefully I can help answer some of your questions. And yeah, see you guys next week.